all the talk in the news about the president's response to the Khashoggi murder by the Saudis and the relationship with the Saudi kingdom. And the president coming under fire from all sides, all of the elitists, all of the globalists, all of the Obama diplomats, all of the usual suspects going on CNN, Fox News, and other stations and blasting the president, except me. I did 6 TV hits yesterday on Al Jazeera Arabic, reaches 70 million people in the Middle East. Al Jazeera English reaches about 10 million people across the globe, and BBC, another 10 or 20 million. So I reached about 100 million people yesterday, over 6 times on television outside of the U.S., some in the U.S. that do watch Al Jazeera English and Fox News, and they reach a couple million people, and CNN reaches about 700,000. So I reached about 100 million. And let me tell you what my take is on this. And I have no doubt that Mohammed bin Salman ordered the murder of Khashoggi. I have no doubt. Now, the CIA says he most likely did, but anybody that follows this stuff, there is no way anybody can logically think that this execution, this assassination, this brutal murder in the consulate was carried out without the direct knowledge or order from Mohammed bin Salman, who runs Saudi Arabia. But I thought that President Trump's public response yesterday on the Khashoggi affair was nothing short of absolute brilliance. And I'll tell you why. Even though most observers in the tired old anti-Trump DC cabal fail to grasp the global significance of Trump's response. Now, the president yesterday strategically and surgically removed Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, MBS, from the equation. He cut him out. And he did it like a surgical procedure. He got him out of the equation, and he set up this bumbling, intemperate, incompetent 33-year-old ruler of Saudi Arabia as the scapegoat without doing it publicly. This was the brilliance of what he did. Now, in so doing, the president preserved America's important strategic alliance with the Saudi kingdom while methodically eliminating MBS out of the relationship for life. This is what everybody fails to see what the president did yesterday. The president coldly and methodically separated a pure business transaction, a $450 billion investment by the Saudis in the U.S., from the overall long-term relationship of any individual Saudi ruler. Now, what President Trump did is he changed the relationship from state to state. U.S. government, Saudi government, not Jared Kushner, MBS, President Trump, Crown Prince, state to state. Now, this benefits a couple of things. It benefits the American economy and the U.S. worker. Only a businessman like Trump, only a businessman and a non-politician can even think in these terms. The elites in Washington, New York, London, and Brussels, they can't fathom this level of effective diplomacy. And it's called something, folks. It's called America First. And it's very consistent with what the president has been saying for 3 years, or 4 actually, since this campaign started. Now, not only did President Trump yesterday act squarely within the boundaries and promises of his America First philosophy, much to the anathema and chagrin of the globalist elites who prefer theater and Karabuki politics over progress. See, that's really what they want. The president put American interest first, not globalist knee-jerk orthodoxy to get now nice sound bites on BBC. As far as MBS is concerned, Mohammed bin Salman, Trump yesterday effectively ended his rule. This is what nobody understands what he did yesterday. There's no coup. There's no overt or covert U.S. involvement in regime change. He simply ended his rule. How? And he did it without leaving a trace. This is the brilliance of what the president did. Now, in the president's statement yesterday in that press conference you heard at the beginning of our show on the lawn, the White House lawn, the president didn't implicate MBS and he didn't exonerate MBS. He said, maybe. Probably he lied to me, but he said, maybe he did. Maybe he didn't. We may never know. He's not disputing the CIA, who did not, by the way, have a definitive recommendation. Anybody that follows this knows MBS ordered the killing. Anybody. And so does Trump. But he said, maybe he did, maybe he didn't. We may never know. Think about how these words resonate to the Saudi kingdom. We may never know. Well, this statement is driving the deep state nuts. It is absolute pure genius. The Saudis have no idea what President Trump really thinks. Trump left MBS hanging and shifting in the wind with absolutely no way out. How can the president of the United States, the leader of the free world, ever take Mohammed bin Salman seriously again? Ever. How could he ever even take a phone call with him on the bat phone seriously again? He'll be talking to him and thinking to himself, is this bumbling, incompetent fool lying to me again like he did a few months ago or a year ago or 2 weeks ago? The relationship is over and the kingdom knows that. There is no way forward with the United States with MBS in power. None. Trump didn't say that overtly. He said it covertly. Maybe he did. Maybe he didn't. MBS is now in Saudi Arabia in an untenable position. MBS has gone from reformer to butcher. Sanctions, Congress is saying, oh, we need to put sanctions on MBS personally. Okay, maybe, but who cares? He can't come to the U.S. ever again. Remember when Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman came to the U.S. and he did his big charm offensive, right? Remember that? And he was the reformer, and he was meeting with CEOs, and he went to Silicon Valley, he went to Texas, he went to the Heartland, he went to Chicago. Remember that? He went to New York, he's meeting with investment bankers, and, he was the new face of the Saudi kingdom, the reformer. Remember that? Meantime, he's got hundreds of $millions of high-priced lobbyists running around Washington, D.C., registered to represent his kingdom, getting millions of dollars in their $10,000 Armani suits, right? Remember that? Remember he goes to Congress, he meets with congressmen. Remember that? It's all over. He can't come to the United States again. MBS can't meet with a single member of Congress. He's a murderer. We all know it. He's an assassin. We all know it. He can't come to the U.S. He can't come to the U.S. and meet with CEOs. No one's going to do business with the guy. No one's going to meet with him for fear of social media repercussions, ridicule, and boycott. So he can't meet with CEOs. He can't meet with members of Congress. He certainly can't come to the White House again. Those days are over. No more high-priced lobbyists running around D.C. doing his bidding. No one in their right mind is going to want to represent this guy. And if you do, you better make enough money to retire because you're done. The guy's an assassin. He's now toxic. He's a pariah in Washington, in the U.S. and across the globe. Maybe he did. Maybe he didn't. See, if the president just said, well, I think he did, and I'm not going to talk to him again, what does that get you? The Saudis would have weathered that storm. But instead, he said, maybe he did, maybe he didn't. No one will ever know. He's done. You know, it's like those of you that hunt, it's like shooting a buck that's running, and they run for another 100 yards, but you hit him square, but they keep running, and then they just drop. That's kind of where MBS is now. He's going to keep running for a while, but he's dead. Not physically in that word, but politically. Politically. Let me make that clear. Politically. He's in bad shape. Trump kept the money for the U.S. worker, kept the investment, marginalized MBS, and preserved the U.S. long-term strategic relationship in using the Saudi kingdom as the bulwark against Iranian imperialism. Now, President Trump campaigned against initiating regime change. But now what he's done is he'll simply let the Saudis do that for him, and it will happen. In the meantime, what Trump did yesterday is, along with marginalizing MBS and setting him up to be deposed internally, the president left the door wide open for further sanctions, for congressional action, for preserving the relationship as a buffer to Iranian aggression, for lowering the price of oil, and for regime change. The bottom line here, no one can really understand this in the Washington swamp, diplomatic, echo chamber, Obama circles, because they screwed everything up. They don't understand what America first means. But here's the bottom line. President Trump is playing chess on the world stage. The tired old globalists sing their same failed policy songs while they're playing checkers. Checkmate.